You know, it's ready, yeah? It's recording already? Oh, okay. All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites. Come out here week in and week out, all right, to let the so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans know that you are the Hebrew Israelites. And at the same time, we're out here to prophesy about the up-and-coming calamities of this world to come. And before we get this thing started, I'd like to give double honor to the apostles that rule well, and the much and great salute to all the Akim that's pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever street they may be in. We almost out of here too. Just about out of here, man. We just gotta be diligent, push them videos out there, and do exactly what we gotta do to bring this word out, man. Because it's working. You know, you got people all around the world waking up, you know, from the different parts of the like South Central America. Like you got a camp out there in Guyana, okay, and you got a camp in Ghana. You got all these different camps and all these different unusual regions that we don't even hear about. Guys are waking up, so we got to keep pushing this truth. The more we keep pushing this truth, the closer we'll get out of here, man. Because what does it say in Matthew 19, Matthew 22? Excuse me. It says that when this word, when this gospel shall be taught in all the world, then shall the end come. So that means we gotta really just keep propagating this word, man. You understand? And at the same time, as we're pushing this word, the Heavenly Father's moving in with His prophecies. The Lord is setting these higher echelons or the governments around the world to perform His prophecies, which is going to lead us to the main prophecy, which is the microchip. Okay, but we're gonna go into something sort of different. I just wanted to make that statement quite clear, you know. And so it says, this is from the Express.co.uk news. It says, GREXIT, Greece on the brinks of financial disaster and could spark an EU rupture. Experts warning. You know the one. Down start from 39. It says, GREXIT, Greece on the brinks of financial disaster and could spark the EU rupture, an expert warns, the debt-ridden EU state face a critical few weeks as pressure rises from the US and Germany for it to meet the conditions agreed in Greece bailout package almost 7 years ago. Negotiations between Athens and its creditors have come to a standstill with bond yields skyrocketing. The yields on 2-year Greek government bonds has risen from 6% to 10% in less than 2 weeks, and nervous investors have started selling up in anticipation of another disaster. Okay, so basically things are not looking really good on a financial scale, economically for Greece, as it's always been since 2009. Because I remember when I first came into truth, Greece was all in turmoil even back then. Okay, but what's going to make it worse for Greece is that how they're going to exit the EU. Okay, because you just had a Brexit, now you have a GREXIT now. So what's being performed as it stands right now is Daniel's the 2nd chapter in the 40, I believe it's the 39th verse, all the way down to the 44th verse. Okay, and that's just the thing about that. We're living in a time of biblical actual prophecy that people are unaware of. Okay, but the only way you're going to be aware of it is if the Lord enlightens you and opens your mind to be aware of that. You understand? Like you got people that will say, well, the Bible is 2,000 or a couple of thousand-year-old book, and it's not relevant to now. But we're actually living in a time of prophecies that was written, okay, down by the scribes, okay, or that was invoked by the prophets, really. Okay, and the Lord was really dealing with the prophets on that level, and He spoke through them. So what we're reading is not only are we reading, when we read the book of Daniel or the book of Ezekiel or the book of Jeremiah, we're actually reading the words of the Heavenly Father. And these words tell us what's going to happen. Okay, these words tell us how to live, how to conduct ourselves. Okay, so when you actually get into these scriptures, you can clearly see that the Lord, His words are coming forth into be true, so to speak. But I want to finish this though. It says, the debt-ridden EU state faced a critical few weeks as pressure rises from Germany. I already read that already. It says the country's beleaguered Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras of the left wing of Syriza party was expected to raise the concerns with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and other EU leaders in Malta on Friday, and analysts have already begun to sound the alarm of impending doom. So there's an impending doom. So we're really right around the corner of great disasters of the civilization crumbling apart. Okay, because when certain brothers say this is the revival of ancient Rome, we actually mean that. Because what made up ancient Rome? Okay, the original 10 European common markets, which, Italy was a part of that. Greece was a part of that. You had Germania Minor, Germania Major. Okay, you had the Franks, the French, which are the French today. All right, and then you had Denmark, and I might be missing a few, but but you had the 10 EU representatives that basically made Rome for what it was today. And you got those same European common markets, right, today that are breaking apart. So if you take the heads, if you destroy the 10 toes, which is what the Bible describes it as, okay, when you destroy that, basically the whole empire crumbles apart. We're gonna go into it. Go on, brother. Let's start from verse 39.
This is the prophet Daniel, chapter 2, verse 39. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee.
Yeah.
And another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
Yeah, and that's talking about ancient Rome. Okay, the brass is referred to ancient Rome. Why does it liken it to brass? Because it was a statue. There was what was going on with what's the guy's name, Nebuchadnezzar, when he received the dream. Then he couldn't interpret the dream, and the dream was based on a statue that was made with the head was gold, and certain parts of the body was different colors of metals. Okay, but when you go below the body down to the legs and the feet, it was made by the brass, and what that symbolizes was the ending of these paganistic empires. So we're actually at the last part of the body, which is the toes. That's where we're at right now. And then once the whole body is shattered, that's going to signify our kingdom coming in the midst. Go on, brother.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. It's the iron represents the power or the military might of ancient Rome. Okay, and also this revival of ancient Rome, which its might is determined based on its military. That's what I was going into, or what we was going into last week, about how the military in Great Britain can only but maximize or deploy 10,000. So if you have 10,000 army men to try to defend your country, that country is going to be easily defeated. So we're literally in the times of the Lord weakening this revival of ancient Rome. Go on, brother. You got another precept.
First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1. Now Judas had heard the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men.
Yeah, that they were mighty and valiant men. So it got out that read that one more time, brother.
Now Judas had heard the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men.
Yeah, Judas, I believe he was the Maccabean. He heard that the Roman army was highly powerful in might. Okay, in might. And we're gonna go and read on, because basically that's why it symbolizes, that's why ancient Rome symbolizes the brass, because it was hard to break down. And just to fast forward it, because what you also had is like during the time of Rome, you had all of these different nations that try to rise up against ancient Rome, and they got destroyed. Like the Carthaginian people, they try to destroy ancient Rome, but it couldn't work because it wasn't meant to go down. But we're gonna revert all the way back to Maccabees stuff. Go on, brother.
And such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them.
Come on.
And that they were men of great valor.
Yep.
It was told him also of their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute.
And brought them, meaning they went into slavery under them. Because when you defeated, now back in the ancient world, when you defeated a nation of people, what was the next thing that you've done with these people? Okay, you might have destroyed all the men, and what you've done was you've taken the men, you might have had children amongst those nations, and you might have used those children for slaves.
They said he had them on tribute.
Oh, tribute. Yes, slavery.
Like basically paying taxes.
Oh yeah, my bad. So like I broke that down the wrong way.
They were part of, because obviously when you read the book of Galatians, our people was in there, and obviously they was paying tribute.
Yeah,
tributary.
Meaning taxes. Yeah, I stand correct. Yeah, I was off on that. Yeah, because when you do read about the Galatians, okay, which our people was there at the time, they were paying taxes. So they were tributary to the Greeks. Okay, as right now we're paying taxes, but guess what? That's a wrong thing. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. So during in the ancient Roman Empire, what you had was you had a lot of our people that was suffering even in their own situated area. Which their own situated area was Jerusalem, but even at that time they had to pay taxes towards the Roman government. Okay, or ancient Rome, should I just say? All right, so that's how they became tributaries. Go on.
So it said, and what they had done in the country of Spain.
We haven't read this in a long time. Go on. I still kind of remember it. Go on.
And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there, and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place.
They have conquered all the place by their policies, their laws that they enforce. So when they conquered the place, they enforced their laws, and they've taken all of the precious resources. Which read it again, brother.
And that by their policy and patience they have conquered all the place, though it were very far from them.
You'll go up a verse which speaks about silver.
Verse 3, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there.
Which is the precious resources. So they had power over that, and when they conquered the land, and they KO'd the land. What I mean by KO, I'm talking about when they literally took over the land, they enforced their laws, and so on and so on. And that's the same thing today. Because you got America throughout the years, they've been going over into the Middle East. Okay, messing with countries like Iraq, Afghanistan. All right, that's what the whole 9/11 thing was all about. So they can basically put their foot there and conquer that particular area, and then also set up puppet leaders for the people. And as they set these puppet leaders for the people, they enforce their laws on that particular country. And that's what the ancient Romans were doing, as we're reading about right now. That's why the scriptures say there is no new thing under the sun, saying that it is new. Because you got the same souls that are coming back doing the same thing all over again. Okay? That's the bottom line. Go on, brother. Yeah, read that verse again with the policy part.
And that by their policy and patience they have conquered all the place.
Yeah, go on.
Though it were very far from them.
Yeah.
And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them, and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year.
Yeah, so they was under that fear, because all of the other races that try to come up against the Romans, they got destroyed, man. And the reason why they got destroyed, because it wasn't set up at that time for ancient Rome to fall. It wasn't set up. The reason why the so-called white man's in power today, all right, to fulfill prophecy. That's all it is. Once that time is meet for him to go down, and he's going to go down. This whole society is going to go down, and we're nearly at that meet right about in these present moments. You understand? But see, people think about the Bible as just a one-dimensional book, or it's just a book of God and that's it. No, this is a book of life. Okay? When you read this Bible, you find out that the whole existence of this life is under the influence of the Heavenly Father, right? You feel what I'm saying? Matter of fact, bro, you hold that real quick and get me the scripture that says, man's doings of the Lord. This whole deal is basically influenced by the Heavenly Father. All right? Now you got a lot of people, they really believe and think that they got some sort of free will, but you don't have no free will, man. The Lord creates a certain spirit to do a certain thing to the best of its ability, and that's what goes on. That's what goes on, man. And as we're reading, that's why these prophecies are coming to pass as predicted. Why? Because the Lord is using men on the planet to fulfill his word. Okay? And we're out here to let you know about that. We're out here to warn you of the end to come, because we see the prophecies coming, and we also see afterwards the end. Oh yeah, it's Proverbs 20 and 24.
It says Proverbs 20 verse 24, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way?
Yeah, drop that in Proverbs 21 and 2.
Proverbs 21 verse 2, every way of man is right in his own eyes.
You go up the first verse.
Verse 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord.
Yeah, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. And that's how the Lord gets down. When you read the book of Daniel, the 4th chapter, it shows you that. Okay? And when you read that particular chapter there, just about the end of the chapter, you'll find out that Nebuchadnezzar, his mind was altered to be programmed as the beast and to dwell amongst the beast. Okay, when the minute that Nebuchadnezzar was bragging about his power and his glorious kingdom, at that same sort of present moment, guess what? The Lord turned him into a beast-like state of mind. All right, and that was the interpretation to say, look, the Lord dwelleth in the kingdom of men. You see, and that's why these books are written, so we can go back and read it and understand how the Lord moves through men and basically just understanding of life, how the Lord deals with this life that He has created. Okay, and knowing that from the smallest person to the highest person, guess what? The Lord controls it. Okay. Look at this guy. Here we go. Keep reading though. Come on, bro. Hey, yo, don't be doing that, man. Don't be doing that, bro. Just have a nice day. You ain't right in the head, my man. We ain't eating with you, bro. Just have a nice day, man. Have a nice day. All right, take care, man. Take care, all right. Take care. All right, have a nice day, We're bringing out the word of the Lord, man. We're going, bro.
The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. Right? Turneth the whithersoever he will.
Yeah, the bar. Just go back to the camera.
This is England. This is fucking.
It's not. Your mama. Let's go.
Who's that?
It says, Proverbs 21 verse 1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord.
Yeah, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord. So that's the bottom line, man. You better know what you're doing with that skateboard, man. Anyhow you do that skateboard over here, man. Let's go with some problems. Come on, bro.
That's the rivers of water.
I'm not playing no games either. I'm not playing no fucking games, man.
Don't forget to say love. We said love. We said love. We said love.
Alright, keep going.
Turneth it whithersoever he will.
They turneth it whosoever he will. So the Lord
Your mother
alters what man
fucking
does. That's what the Lord does. And see what the Lord can do to you. The Lord can make you drop dead too if you ain't right, man. You know what we're gonna have to start doing, man? We're gonna have to start putting curses out here, man. You understand? Yeah, I know. You just gotta set the record straight, man. You know these people, they bugging, man. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna just make this quite clear. If you drunk and you all bugged out your mind, don't come up here, man. Just do what you do. Because we're not gonna entertain you. Alright, we're here to teach and we're here to prophesy, and that's that. So if you coming up here all bugged out your mind because your life ain't going your way, then you go deal with that yourself. That's why you're an adult, okay, to take responsibility for your own crap. So don't come up here, man. Go on. And I'm not mad. I'm just bringing that out, okay? Because we're not joking around up here, man. actually get Daniel's 4th chapter. It's like I was saying about Daniel's 4th chapter, there was an interpretation that was given. We're going to read about it. Let's start from Yeah, you're right, you know, Daniel's, you got to go back into that. But I just want to bring out a point, though. It's a quick point. Yeah, Daniel's 4. Yeah, start from verse. Yeah, you know what? You could read that. Yeah, you could read that. Yeah.
Also, I read from the kingdom of God.
You know, start from verse 15 and go to 16. Verse 15.
Daniel chapter 4, verse 15. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth,
Keep going.
even with a band of iron and dross, in the tender grass of the field.
Yeah.
And let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth.
You got a question? Okay, yeah, just if you got a question, just hold on real quick. We're gonna deal with this.
Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him.
Right. So it says, let his heart be changed from man, and let the heart of the beast be given unto us. Read that one more time, because that you know what I mean. That kind of was messing up the flow.
Do you mind if I video record?
Now we don't want to be. We're already recorded. You understand? We already.
That's fine.
Man.
Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him.
Yeah, when you look up the word heart, the Hebrew word there is la'ab, which means the mind. So his mind was reprogrammed into that of a beast. And that can happen. You got people out here that have experienced mental instability, man. You understand? And that's why you got to fear the Lord, because the Lord can really do something to you, man. You understand? But this is an interpretation, though. There's a reason why this was done. Go on, bro.
And let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers.
Yeah, there's 7 times as a completion instead of a time, or duration of time. Go on.
And the demand by the word of the holy ones,
Yeah.
to the intent that the living may know
That the living may know. Go on.
that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
That the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. And that's the point that I wanted to bring on home. Okay, and that's really the reason on why you have these prophecies that are shooting forth nowadays. When you watch the news and you read certain articles and stuff like that. Because the Lord is orchestrating through men his work. So when we say that America is going to be destroyed off the face of the planet, what we're really saying is the Lord is going to muster the host of the battle as the Bible describes the men to be, and invoke that word, invoke that prophecy. Excuse me. You know, when we say America's going to be destroyed, people think we're going to destroy America. We ain't got that type of power, man. That's not going to go down. What's going to go down is that you're going to have a group of people that's going to rise up in power, and they're going to destroy themselves so much so that they're going to wind up even destroying their own people. Okay? All we're doing, we're just giving you the word. Now, we don't shake hands, man.
Why not?
Because that's not our culture with Israelites. Doesn't mean that I'm mad at you, though. I'm not angry or anything at all. You know, some people think that I'm angry, man. I don't know why. Go on, bro. I'm just passionate. That's all, man. I'm just passionate. Yeah, I think that's the point. Yeah, go back to Daniel 2.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. And the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron.
Yeah.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces,
Yeah.
and subdueth all things,
Yeah.
and as iron that breaketh all these.
And the iron which breaketh all these. So the 4th kingdom was referring to ancient Rome. Okay, which we're at the last leg of Rome, right about now. We're at the 10 toes that make up ancient Rome. Okay, when you read the book of, Revelations, the 20th chapter, it tells you how that red dragon, deadly wound was healed. Meaning it was going to be destroyed for a little while and to come back around the 15th century, which that happened. Go on.
Shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided.
The kingdom shall be divided. And what that represents, the miry clay, it represents certain countries in the midst of the EU being powerful than the other, economically and militarily. That's what that represents right there. But it shall be divided. Okay? It shall be divided, and that's what we're reading about today. Okay, you have a thing going out such as what we call GREXIT, all right, which most of the British people, I believe, to think they want to be out of the EU. But guess what? Even the Grecians want to be out of the EU. So, hey, all of the 10 toes are being divided. Go on, brother.
It says, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
Which is the might, the military. Go on.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partially strong and partially broken.
Right, the kingdom shall be partially strong and partially broken, because the military of each of these European countries that basically formulate this revival of ancient Rome, in the midst of these countries you have stronger military, and you have the ones that do not have weaker military. Like for example, Britain is getting weak, okay? And the German soldiers, they're probably a little bit more stronger than the British right about now. Okay, in terms of the amount of soldiers they have on their team, or the representatives of that country. It's much more. Go on, brother.
It says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another.
They shall not cleave one to another. You see that? Let's see. Now I'm going to continue to read this article.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay. And that's why there's a dividency amongst Europe. Okay, you have Britain, which wants to be out of the EU, and now what we're going to read about now is Greece wanting to be out of the EU. Okay, and that's the whole thing. But all of these different things dealing with the dividency of the nation, it's not really going to happen. But it's actually happening in this way, which I'm going to explain. Because the people in the lands that live in these different European countries, they don't want to unite together. Okay, the government may have a different agenda because the higher ups, which the majority of them are Masons anyway, and the majority of them have a plan to establish a one world system. So if you're establishing a one world system, which is what the higher ups are doing, they're not going to take heed to the people. No, they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to initiate their plans. That's what they're going to do. But the people in these countries are divided against each other. Okay? That's why it also tells you in the scriptures, if Satan be divided against itself, how can that house stand? That's the spirit. That's the spirit. You see? And that's why this whole civilization is crumbling apart. Okay, because you have amongst the nations, or amongst Esau, should I say, all right, which is the so-called, Europeans today. They are known as the biblical Edomites. Amongst them, there's a dividency. All you gotta do is look at the parties, the rallies, the different protests. You got it, right? Go on, brother.
Gospel of Matthew 12, verse 25.
Yeah.
And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
And eventually, that's where this society is gonna be brought to. Okay? Eventually, this society is going to be brought down where it needs to be. And being that Donald Trump's in office, boy, Donald Trump, he's going to make some big, crazy moves, man. He's going to make some big, crazy moves. Because, Donald Trump, as we all know, he's a madman. The man's not even thinking things through. He's just signing executive orders left, right, hand, and center. Okay? And he's going about threatening other countries such as Iran. Okay, and he's also he's actually banned certain people from getting into America that want to go into America. There was this one woman, she was from Sudan, and she was trying to re-enter the United States, and she had a lot of issues trying to do that. So being that Trump's in office, he's stirring up a lot of problems involving the U.S. Okay, But what we're going to deal with is the main point. The point of the matter is this sickening civilization that we are under currently today is going to be destroyed. And when Yahweh Shah comes back, whom the world called Jesus Christ, the so-called black man, he's going to come back and deliver the elect out of this nation over here, the nation of Israel. Okay, and what I mean by the nation of Israel, I'm not talking about those Scamalakite bastards that's dwelling in that land over there. Go on, brother.
And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
Yeah, go on.
And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against itself.
There you go. If Satan be casted out, Satan, then they shall be divided against themselves, so to speak. Even Vladimir Putin, you got Vladimir. I don't need to go back to this whole Russian-American thing, but we just trying to make a point. The point is that even though the Russians are over there in that land, because the Bible likens them as the Gog and Magog, but they're not the actual people of Gog and Magog. Okay, the actual people of Gog and Magog are the people of Japheth. All right, which the people of Japheth are those people down there in Hawaii, Fiji Island, even the wrestler. His name is Jimmy Snuka. He would be a Japheth. Okay, those were the people that actually dwelled in those regions, Greece and all of the isles there. When you read Genesis chapter 10. Okay, but the point now I want to dive back onto is how the Lord has divided this whole civilization through the nation, which is the nation of Esau. Okay, and you have Vladimir Putin and other Russians that are against the Americans now. So what's actually going on is what the brother just read. Satan is casting out Satan. Read that one more time, bro. Satan is literally casting out Satan. And being that be the case, this whole civilization is going to crumble a lot more faster than we see. Go on, brother. Casting out Satan. He's still casting out Satan. Go on.
Also, he talks about that the red dragon, the EU is like the red dragon. The red, that's Esau, that's Edom. The word Edom, under one, which means red. Meaning this is an empire or a global empire
of Esau,
governed by Esau.
Beautiful point.
And so you're gonna have, if Esau don't cast out Esau, how's it gonna? It's gonna end miserably.
That's right.
It says,
verse 26, Matthew 12. And if Satan casts out Satan, he's divided against himself.
Yep.
How shall then his kingdom stand?
How shall his kingdom stand? And that's how you know that this society ain't got too long. Because not only is it plundering down economically, okay, militarily, but the dividency of it is there. So when you have all of these three things, these three negative points that are being influenced, okay, in the society, that's going to crumble a lot more quicker. And that's why Paul told the Israelites 2,000 years ago, which really it applies today as well. Our salvation is nearer than when we believe.